Hey guys, welcome to a comma making guide. I know that Ability's already uploaded one of these, but I'm going to go ahead and make another one because his guide is sort of more for the rich and more for the people that already have a distinguished like profession, I suppose, and already have some commas and want to try to make more by maging. But this one's going to be sort of just like, how do you get to that point? How do you start making commas? How do you basically do what everyone else feels, or what it feels like everyone else is doing? Like, you look at this guy, you're like, God damn, I bet this guy can buy a sub each week and isn't concerned about it and all that stuff. So, anyways, how do you do that? Well, I've come up with a few ways to do this, which are these, and I'm going to talk about each of them. So, the first one is to make more than you sell. Now, that sounds really simple, or whoops, make more than you spend. Bam. Spend a lot of time making this. Make more than you spend. Basically what that means is that, like, let's say, as an example, you want to subscribe, okay? And you subscribe with your commas because you're like an average person. You spend 1,100 to buy it per week, okay? Well, as soon as you buy that, pull up like a notepad or just sort of like a spreadsheet so that you can keep track. Do this. You've already spent 794,200 commas, or however much your sub costed, and guess what? You are now down 794,200 commas. As soon as you sub, it is your goal to have enough commas by the end of the sub to have paid back this and hopefully made profit. That is the goal if you're trying to be more economic, or just more like comma based rather than like hunting. It's like, you know, each week sub, you could say like, oh, I should get at least a level a day, and then I'll be like level, I don't know, 199 in 3 weeks or something like that. Okay, simple, but that's not what we're going for. We're not going for hunting. We're not going for anything. We're going for commas. So what you're going to want to do is subtract however much you just spent on what's it called? grinds. Always make sure that you know how much you spent, because as soon as you start, just estimating things, it's going to be a bit tedious. It's going to be a bit annoying. Another good thing to do is to just write down how many commas you had at the beginning of the sub, at the beginning of the sub, right after you purchase it, and then, or right before you purchase it, sorry, and then just as long as your commas by the second your sub ends is more than that, then you did a good job. But I like to find out every single thing that I bought. Do that, and then let's say, I don't know, say you want to buy something like this. Sounds good. You want to buy 100 of these? Go for it. And then guess what? We have to go ahead and subtract another 448,999. Done. We're now down a bunch of commas, and you still haven't made commas. So you need to start thinking, once you buy all of the stuff that you want to buy, or once you sub and get your new set pieces, you need to start thinking, how am I going to make this back? The reason that you do this is because it always has you, sort of like thinking about your commas, thinking about your personal economy, so you know what you're doing in ways that, to fix it. Because for the most part, people can make commas, but they're just bad at spending them. Like, I've been in that position a million times where I see like, I don't know, I see like a random exo mage on like an AP exoed gobble hammer. I don't need that. I'm level 200. I don't use the hammer, and I will never use it on alt. And then I'm still like, I really think I need that in my inventory. So then I buy it, and I was like, wow, I'm already down like 500 KK. It's a huge waste of commas. But things like that, not worth it. But, if some of us will buy things like that, I'm personally guilty of it. So, yeah, try to keep a chart of how many commas you're spending, and try to use the next techniques I'm going to show you to try and get out of that hole that you've dug yourself, because each week that you buy, or each month that you buy, puts you down, some commas. I personally don't spend like real life money on subscriptions, so I don't necessarily recommend it either, though. I recommend spending real money on it just because, like, $3 for a week is not a lot at all. Like, if my PayPal was accepted for that little, I would do it, but it's not, and I don't really want to buy whatever it is, like a 3-month sub or something. But yeah, as soon as they open up like PayPal to be acceptable through that stuff, then I'll do it. But my PayPal personally isn't accepted. It just says that there's like an issue with it. I don't know. Happened like 4 years ago, and they still haven't sorted it out through the support. I'll have to find out later. But yeah, personally, I recommend just buying your subs through like credit card or whatever, PayPal, your phone thing, all that stuff. It's not a lot of money at all, and it's super worth it in comparison to, you know, how much you're going to be gaining by keeping your extra 700kk. But if you are going to spend commas, make sure to keep a chart, because it's really, really helpful to make back the money you spend on that sub. So the next thing, let me just clear this index out. There we go. Okay. Craft items rather than sell them. Or what? What am I doing? Rather than... Yeah, okay. I'm addicted to selling things, okay? I'm addicted to selling things. What I mean by what I was trying to say, which is craft items rather than just buy them, is, let's say you're trying to craft this Triton mask, okay? I want to be like this. I'm like, okay, how much is this? This whatever. That looks really boring. I'm never going to craft it. I don't have any of those resources in my bank and whatnot. And whatever. You're bored and then you just, nah, sorry. Okay, anyways, so yeah, basically what I was saying before I was cut off, before I was sidetracked, more like it, is if you're trying to craft something, I'll tell you right now that the cheapest one in the market is 19 mil, okay? I don't know, like, I know for this item, but I mean, let's say you're trying to craft something else, like a Beltine or whatever. If you want to craft an item, specifically the expensive ones and especially the late game ones, it's really, really easy to buy something that is wicked overpriced for what it is. Now, if you're a Magus, this way works even better because you generally have runes in your bank and you could just mage things for free for yourself. But anyways, here's what I'm going to say. You always want to check your bank for every single item that's in the craft. It may be tedious, it may be annoying, but in the long run, it has saved me personally millions and millions of commas, and it could possibly save you like an entire item or two, especially if it's a lower level item, because I know I had, like, before I started selling everything in my what's it called, in my bank, I used to have, like, I don't know, ridiculous amounts. I crafted like 3 wolf hats, a bunch of things down here. I crafted a bunch of sponge hats and gobblehead gears, like 2 Professor Zaw rings, a barbaric band, Professor Zaw cape, some other endgame stuff that I can't remember. I think like a Celestial Barbarian. No, not that amulet. I don't think that's even craftable. But I had one of those in my bank. Yeah, my bank was a huge mess, and I basically realized that crafting things is the way to go, especially if you're a Magus, because this almost always pays for itself. So let's say this hat is 19 million commas, okay? I'm going to fast forward through this just so I can make a point and show you guys the final price. But remember, 19 million is the number that we're trying to beat. It almost always works, but I haven't actually checked this, so I need to make sure. But yeah, I'm going to fast forward through me adding up some of these, and then I will get back to you guys then. So yeah, one sec. Okay, so I am back, and I basically added up every single thing, and it is 15.894708 million. Sounds great. Yeah, 15 million, almost 16 million, which doesn't sound like cheap, but in comparison to the hat, which is currently 19 million for the cheapest, and yeah, that was missing a few stats. That's not even that great. Okay, and it's missing a few stats and everything. Not the best fit. Critical damage and pushback damage are fine, but you know, it's not good in my opinion. Could be an overmage, could have something else there. I know that fire res is overmaged. There it is. No, it's not. Whatever. Basically, 15.8 million, almost 16 million for a hat that's probably about the same as that. That one is maged. I'm not going to say it's a terrible hat, but you could make it a lot better. And for another, what's it called, 3 million, you could probably buy the runes 5 times over and pay 10 maguses to mage this. So, yeah, I'd say crafting items, for me personally, always works just because I don't know, I generally have a lot of the items in my bank. But even for someone who has nothing, because I added up every single one, as well as more if you looked at the fast forward super carefully, I added like for some parts like the crab turn, what is it called, things, I added this times like 9. There 9 lots of 10 as opposed to like 8 lots of 10 and then 5 lots of 1, because I'm just shooting for worst case scenario if I need to buy that. If they don't have the ones in stock, or if, just, I don't know. I was just overshooting it just to prove a point, I suppose, that this is already cheaper, and you can also sell 4 of these at 30kk or 50kk each, 5 of these at 30kk each, 1 of these at 300kk. Did I add 10 of these? I don't think I added 10 of those. No, I added 10. Yeah, I added 10 vortex wings. Oops. So, yeah, my bad. You can subtract like, I don't know, like 2.8 million. Sounds about right. That was not right. Anyways, my point is that I added a lot more than I should have, and it still came out to be more than 3 million commas cheaper than the cheapest one in the market. So yeah, that's my point, I suppose. I feel like I've rambled on a lot about the significance of that and how much cheaper it is to craft things rather than buy them, but some people will still insist on buying it rather than crafting it, because some items are, they just are cheaper. Like, it's probably, cheaper to buy this rather than craft it. I assume things, low-level items are probably easier, but things like, once you start getting to like Moo Wolf and Soft Oak, I can only imagine that it's cheaper to craft it, because the items themselves aren't that rare, the resources, but the actual equipment is what people start valuing more, because it's just harder to make things. And then higher level, it's going to be a lot easier to craft things. Of course, it's always better to check, always look at the cheapest one, and then always compare it to that. You don't want to compare like this. I'm not going to say like, oh, 37.5 million, of course I can beat that with the craft. No, I'm not going to, because that's a bit ridiculous, because that price is jacked up. It's going to be a lot easier to beat that price than it is to beat the cheapest price of something. Even if it's a terrible hat, it's, you still want to see if you could beat it with craft. So yeah, next thing is selling resources. Okay, so the next two actually sort of like coincide because it's selling things. But yeah. Okay, sorry, my head is killing me for some reason. But yeah, as you can see, I have 200 out of 200 lots currently in the market. This has been like this. Actually, it's not always 200 200. It's more like 180 because things sell. But yeah, always try to stack out or stock up your market as much as you possibly can, even if things like get beaten in price. Like pretty much all of these, yeah, are beaten in price so far. Why? Not sure. They just are, but they'll eventually come out of market. I generally don't change the majority of these prices just because not my kind of thing, I suppose. It's too tedious for me. They don't have a remove all button, not that I know of, at least. Wow, I didn't know that was an actual thing. But anyways, yeah, they don't really have that many good stuff. A lot of the prices change and beat mine by leagues, but that's just whatever, in my opinion. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to wait for them to come out. Yeah, selling resources is pretty simple. You want to go to your bank, basically. Mine's a mess. It has a bunch of stuff in it. And basically just sell everything you have there, because as much as you may say, like, oh no, I swear I'm going to use my 18 Revish mustache, I haven't looked at these in like a year. Basically, like, you probably don't care about the things in your bank. I don't care about the things in my bank. So just go ahead and sell them. Like, I don't need 499 broken tridents. I don't need any of this stuff. I don't use it. I don't even like know that I have half of this. So yeah, just go ahead and sell whatever you have in your bank. And yeah, some people don't have a lot in their bank, and I realize that it's very common to just sell everything you have as soon as you get it. So a good way to find things that are expensive or to get things that are expensive is that guy used to be a Saker, but a good way to find things that are expensive is to go Preceptor hunting in pretty much any important area. Dungeons are really good, and a really, really good dungeon to Preceptor hunt in is the Lord Crow dungeon, because they drop really good items there for some reason. Like Lord Crow's Heart sells for like 200kk each, and no one really perk hunts there that often, so yeah. Super useful not tutorial. I'm sorry, my head is hurting and I can't think right now, but super useful spot to go ahead and hunt in. Next thing, selling these two. Basically, Dopploons aren't as profitable because they sell for like, what is it, like 400 per one or something like that. I don't know. They don't sell a lot. For like, it's like 40,000 per 100, and so that means like 400kk per 1,000. No, it's not even close. It's like 100,000 per 1,000. I don't know. It's really, I don't sell these anymore because they sort of aren't that profitable, but they are definitely for like lower levels. It's probably better for you than it is for It's better to use them for yourself and save money on buying scrolls than to actually sell them. But I mean, they are still commons. I could just sell 2 of these or run through Doppels one more time and sell like 3 powerful scrolls for probably like 20kk each. It's like some decent money, but it's not amazing. I still recommend using it for scrolls when you're low level because I've pretty much scrolled every single stat with my own scrolls, and it takes a while, but it definitely saves you on like 5 million per element, so that's really awesome. Colo tokens are like 220,000 each. You've probably seen in the chat, someone's has probably been buying, like buy spell point scrolls 210,000 each. What is it? Anyone else? Yeah, well, this guy, earlier today I was seeing like 10 messages a second of them, people like buying like spell point scrolls, buying sparkling pebbles, all that stuff. And you can buy those all with Colo tokens, or Colo tokens. Super useful thing, and they're really easy to get now with the 1v1 Colo. What's it called? This thing, the 1v1 Colo queue. You just register, wait like 2 minutes, and then the thing pops up and then you fight. And yeah, that's a bit harder to do though because if you don't have a good set, or if you're like level 180, you're most likely just going to be paired up against like OP level 200 with like 5k ratings. So it's really difficult to compete with those. But if you do have a decent set and you are pretty good at PvP, then you can make a bunch of these. I recently just used like 10,000 of these to craft some trophies, and it saved me a lot of commas because I could just pretty much ignore the entire cost of that because I had so many of them, and it was super useful, saved me a bunch of money. Final thing is to craft the simple stuff, such as the recall potions, bonded Bractimar potions, and like bread for hunting. Basically, if that wasn't clear enough, is basically craft these potions and craft bread. That is probably, you don't think about it, but it's like that sort of expense that comes out of everyone's pockets, and someone has to be making it. So someone's making profit off of it, but we don't know who, right? Well, you can either be the person to make the profit, to be making the profit, or you can just make it for yourself. You can sell them, but I don't really recommend it because it's sort of tedious to sell them, and you know there's so much competition. It's going to be like you put up like 10,000 of these in the market, then someone's just going to beat it by the morning, and then you need to remove 100 lots and reset it. It's super tedious, not really that fun to do. So yeah, selling them wouldn't be my favorite, but definitely buying these things, I'd probably buy like, well, I have 300 right now, so I don't really need to do anything, but like these guys, I buy these pretty often, and they cost a lot of money. And same with like Alliance Boat. Well, oh wait, what's the one? Is it Guild House? Are those the ones that cost a lot? Home potion. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired, or not really tired. I'm like exhausted. It's just a lot of energy has been used recently. But yeah, just like craft like recall potions, bonded, and Brackmar potions. Those things sell for a lot, but I just more recommend use it for yourself because that's just another expense that you're not going to be having to spend. And yeah, final note. If I could make this bigger, I would, but I think you can only make all of it bigger. There we go. Here we go. Don't do that. Don't impulse buy. It's such a bad idea, and I am victim of it. I will literally go to the market some days and just like, I don't know, let's say it's a good sale day. I make like a few million commons. I have like 5 million extra. I'm just like, you know what I need? I need a Razzler mask. And then I'd like buy that stuff. It's just, no, don't do that. Stop yourself before every purchase, or just think before every purchase. Like, even the ones like, let's say you're buying like an Ochre Doofus and you're buying for like 30 mil, just think about it before you buy it and just be like, do I really need this Ochre Doofus? Like, do I need that extra, like, or like that 1 AP, or does my set rely on an Ochre Doofus or something like that? Or, you know, just try to think of all the applications that you're going to use for the item that you're going to buy. Because if it's only going to one account and it's like a 200 MK item, like let's say you're buying like a perfect damage Inky Veal, like perfect damage AP Inky Veal, perfect stats and everything, and it's just, would you want to spend 275 million on that, or do you just want to spend like 50 million on a normal one and have practically zero difference? You got to like really think about your impulse buys, or just like the purchase price of everything that you're doing, because if not, then it's pretty much going to lead to just you wasting like a lot more combos than you need to. So yeah, I'm sorry if this video is sort of like rambly. This entire thing is a mess. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's what that does. Okay. Anyways, goodbye. Thanks for watching. And I will probably see you in a Road to 200 video when I upload that. So, yeah. Peace.